cover made. If you want to very, very, very carefully fold it up, you can do, but you're actually not going to need it tonight. And you're actually not going to need any of the fussy cut bits that you've done. But for those of you who haven't started your fussy cutting, what I thought I would do is take, because I haven't started mine, is take a photograph of the pages that I need you to fussy cut and show you which bits I need you to do, because you'll see that places like this one, we've actually layered up 3. Now you're only going to get 2 signature pages with that fairy on, so don't get rid of your cover page, because I'm pretty certain I use that as well. Okay, but I'll go through and I'll have a look and I'll give you some ideas of which bit to fussy cut. But what I want to do tonight is I want to cut out all of our base pages, so all of these bits, and get started on cutting out these extra bits that kind of, the flips and flaps that go with it. So over the next week, yes, I am giving you homework. I want you to base decorate them, okay? So what we'll do is there's 4 pages here. We will make up these 4 base pages, and then we will add these bits on here. So like for instance, this is what I've called page 1, and this is page 8. This is the same, but throughout it's easy because the opposite pages actually match each other, and that was deliberate so that we could, you know, have these bits of fussy cutting bits in the middle. So that was all totally deliberate, but it also means that it's nice and easy for us to make. With regard to closures, I haven't used any fancy closures on this book at all. With regard to what I've done here is I've used one of the cutter parts, and I've simply popped it on some cardstock, only glued half of it down so that when I close it, that just slips over the top there, and that's what holds it in place. Okay, this one doesn't have any closure as such, but I've just added some of these cut apart elements from the paper. And then this one opens and closes in exactly the same way as the one on the front, you know, using one of the cutter parts and then just slotting in the stuff behind that. This bit
you will show them what to fussy cut because you're scared to do.
Yeah, I will absolutely show you. Oh, I'm missing out on comments here for some reason. I'll absolutely show you, because what I thought I might do is I'm going to take photographs of each page and I'll actually draw on them so that you can see what needs to be cut. Not a problem at all. Evening, Michelle. So this page is just a little like an envelope here. So there's nothing in this book that is difficult. It is so simple. It just looks great because of the amazing papers and the fussy cutting. It is the simplest book ever. So that's what I want to do tonight. So I'm going to leave that to one side so that we can, you know, maybe go through and have a look. So what we're going to do is, if we cut it out the basics all in one go. So I'm going to cut out the 4 base pages. We will put all of those together, and then we'll come to put the flips and flaps on. Okay, so that's the plan for tonight, so I hope that's okay. Right, so ladies and gents, if you grab some of your cardstock, I've used white, and grab your trimmer, and we will get going. So like I said, we've got 4 pages, so we need to make 4 base pages. So to start with, I want you to cut 4 at 9 by 7.5 inches. Okay, so 9 by 7.5 inches, and I want you to cut that 4 times. Okay. Now, on the cutting guide, I've said that I want you to cut for at 9 by 6.5 inches. Now, the 9 inches is a given. That's not going to change. But if you cut slightly under the 6.5, so say something like 6 3/8, it might actually, when you come to put the book together, the pages together, it'll make it fit a little bit better. So although I've said 9 by 6.5, it probably needs to be more like 9 by 6 3/8. Okay. And you need to cut 4 of those. So when I say 3/8, if you're not used to dealing with this and you're more of a metric sort of a person.
3/8 is 9.525 millimetres.
Well, thank you for that, dear. It was what?
9.525 millimetres.
Okay, that sounds quite a lot. Anyway, that technical thing. The way I think about it is it's 1/8 of an inch under the half. It just works for me.
Yeah.
The way my brain works. So go to the 1/2 inch, the 6.5 inches, and pull it back 1/8. I don't know how many of these I've cut. 3. I need 1 more. So yeah, if I go to the 6.5 and then just pull it back 1/8 of an inch, that's where I need to be.
Looks like a few people have had trouble finding a light.
Oh, that's interesting because we were on super early.
Yeah.
See you later, Mel. Hi, Chloe. Well, that's very strange. Don't know. I thought if we came on really early, it would give you all time to find us. So obviously that just made a mess of everything, didn't it? Seemed like such a good idea at the time. Okay, right. So these are my base pages here. Those 4 that we've cut last, which I seem to have cut at different sizes. What have I done? Hang on. I'll just do that again. It's me that's cut wrong. It's not that I've said wrong. I've just cut wrong.
Not paying attention.
Not paying attention, yeah.
Back in the class.
Right, let's just check I've done it right this time. Yeah.
No.
I know, useless.
No.
That's better. Right, so these are the bits that are 9 inches by just under 6.5 inches. Okay, and we're going to put those to one side just for now. So I'm going to get my scoreboard. And I am going to score on the 7.5 inch side, which means, for those of you who haven't done it before, that I've got the 7.5 inch side at the top of my scoreboard. And I'm going to score at 1/2 inch. And I'm going to score at 7 inches. So it's just 2 score lines. And they're parallel to each other. Because what we're going to do is we're going to fold these over, slip in our bits that we haven't scored on, and then glue them down. If you've made books with me before, this is quite a standard way that I do things. So we're going to do the same on all 4 pieces. So we're scoring on the 7.5 inch side, at 1/2 inch, and at 7 inches. And we're going to do that on all 4. So 1/2 inch. What the heck?
You're doing that the wrong way.
No, I just can't. I've cut that one wrong.
Oh.
half an inch and 7 inches. Right, I'll just cut that out again. I don't know what's the matter with me.
You have a week off.
I know, it all goes to pot. Right. 7.5 by 9. Call the police on me. Yeah, I know, I just noticed that. For crimes against papercraft. Right, half an inch and 7 inches. Now that's interesting. That's my piece of rose quartz which Mel gave me for love, and it's just fallen down. What does that mean?
Gravity.
Oh, gravity, yeah, that's probably what it is. Right, okay, ever the romantic. Actually, I had a knock on the door yesterday lunchtime, and it was a gentleman with flowers for me. So, yes, he is a bit of a romantic, aren't you, dear?
I try to be.
Yeah. Right, okay. Evening, Mary. Right, are we good to go? Okay. Right, so what we're going to do is we've got these... Hey, you what?
They might be, I don't know about you.
What? Right to go? No, I'm never good to go. Right, so we've got, these are the pieces with the parallel score lines. All we're going to do is fold on those score lines just like that. Oh, dear. And we're just going to use our bone folder. I'm just going to get my mat out actually, because I've wrecked this so much. It's going to be much easier to do this on my mat. Okay, and I'm just going to burnish that. Now, because I'm second guessing myself constantly, I'm just going to make sure that I have cut these out the right size. Yes, that's a relief. Okay, so what I've got here is I've got my page, which I folded over those two flaps. And I've got a piece of card here, which is the one that doesn't have any score lines on it. And because we cut it just under 6.5, because that size of the page is 6.5, it should just slot in nicely there. And what we're going to do is we're going to put some glue on those flaps, fold them over the top and glue that down. And we're going to do that on every page. So, bit of glue, which I know is working because I used it earlier. I'm just going to pop some glue on the inside of that flap. Just like that. Oh my God, where did that come from? What is going on? Flower off me. That's off the Winter's Tale project. Okay, so now I've got my card and I'm just gonna glue that down like that. Just use my bone folder just to make sure that it's stuck down really well. So now I've got my page, which is made up of two parts with hole on either end, okay? And I want you to do that with all 4 of our pages. So fold on your score line. Burnish it well. Pop some glue on the inside of those flaps. And then we're going to pop in the other part of the page. Make sure it's lined up and glue that down. Hi Jane. so that's 2 pages made.
Halfway there.
Oh yeah, definitely halfway there. Okay. Bit of glue. We haven't heard from Anthony for a bit, have we?
Not in the last few days.
No.
But he doesn't like the rain.
No. He's been knocking about in the garden. But we haven't heard from him for a bit. But we've, oh my goodness, we've had the most tremendous rainstorms. You wouldn't believe it. I was in our dining room, which I like to call my kit making room. Making up parcels actually, and I had the windows open because it was quite warm, and it started raining, and I've never ever seen rain like it. Rekha, it's absolutely fine, lovely. It's good to see you. And suddenly this rain decides that it's a really good idea to come in through the window. Now you've got to bear in mind that it's one of those windows that opens kind of like that way. It's not one that opens in that way. You know what I mean. Anyway, but oh my god, the amount of water that came in. Luckily it only came in on top of my paper bags, so there was nothing damaged, but goodness me, so much water. The back flooded. It's just been absolutely mad, the amount of rain we've had lately. It's quite spectacular. Mark rung and I couldn't even hear you, could I, darling?
No.
It was so loud and noisy. But we've had some really great thunderstorms. Really brilliant. Do like a good thunderstorm. So yeah, I suspect that's why Anthony's not been around much. He's been hiding. Okay. So that is my 4 base pages made. And as you can see, they've got their hole through. Now, when I'm adding things to my pages, for me, and this is just the way that I work, there doesn't have to be anything, you don't have to do it this way. But for me, the front of the page is the flat bit and the back of the page is the bit where the flaps overlap, okay? So it's entirely up to you which way round you want to do this. And the other thing that I will say is that even though I have named all of these pages 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, they are all absolutely interchangeable. And if you don't want to do it the way that I'm doing it, you can mix them up. You might have to think about how you're going to, you know, kind of do these fussy cut bits. But in theory, although mine are symmetrical, yours don't have to be. It's entirely up to you how you do this. But I would say that if you're wanting to get the same feel with the book, that you do need to consider leaving these bits, you know, at the side. Ooh. At the side, so that you can, you know, you can add your fussy cut flowers and fairies. So deliberately I've left these bits, you know, in the middle, because that was where, you know, I wanted to put my fussy cut bits. So it's entirely up to you. You don't have to do it the same way as me at all. It will work any of those ways. Oh, Ruby! Oh, she's all wet! Excuse me, she's going to have to be removed because she's just going to plonk herself. Wet cat on my white paper. No, come on, Ruby. Come on, come on, come on. Excuse me. Sorry about this, everybody. Right, Rue. Come on, come on, come on. Oh,
the international language of...
Oh, she's stuck to me. Sorry, Ruby. Oh, oh. Okay, right. Bless her heart. So, where was I? Right, so yes, you can mix and match this whatever way you like. But what I'm going to do is, if you look at the cutting guide, I've divided them up into, you know, the pages as I've got them in the book. So I'm going to do it the same way. So we've got our base pages. We're going to put those to one side. And now I'm going to cut out for page 1 and 8, which is this one at the front and then that one at the back. Okay. and we'll talk. So I've talked a little bit about the closure, but we'll do those first. So on the cutting guide, I've said per page. So if you're doing both pages, you're going to need to cut out two of these. Okay. So if you grab some cardstock, I want you to cut 2 at 6 1/8 of an inch by 4 5/8 of an inch. And I know that sounds weird, but the reason that I've done it like that, and I'll show you, is that this, which is works out at 6 1/8 of an inch by 4 1/8 of an inch once it's folded and in there, that is the exact size of a standard 6x4 photo with a tiny little bit of a what?
Reveal.
A reveal.
Yeah.
Is that what it's called?
Yeah, that's what I've done.
I suppose so, yeah. Well, this bit around the outside, anyway, basically. So, although it sounds really odd saying, you know, cut it at 6 1/8, that's the reason why. So, if you wanted to say, put a photograph inside or cut apart like this, that is a 6x4 cut apart, the same size as a photograph. So it's very easy to do that. That was the reasoning behind my rather strange sizes. And then obviously, you know, if you want to put photos in there, you can do. So that was the reason behind the weird sizes.
You say cut 2, that's per page, isn't it?
Per page. So you need to cut 4. So 4 at 6 1/8 by 4 5/8. So 6 1/8. Just get this right. Oh, it's not big enough. So 6 1/8 by 4 5/8. Because I'm doing this page twice, I'm going to cut 4 of them. Okay, right, I'm going to grab my scoreboard. Oh, just dropped my thingy. Don't move a minute. Oh, it's there. Thank you, dear. Tar. So I want you to score on the side that is 4 5/8. I want you to score at 1/2 inch. And I want you to do that on all of them. So score on the 4 5/8 inch side at 1/2 inch. Okay. And all we're going to do now is just fold on that edge there on each of them, and then we're going to burnish it so that we get a good sharp crease. Okay, I've lost my bone folder. Oh, there it is. It doesn't look very straight. Oh, it does. It's the way I'm sitting. Okay, now some of these pages we're going to have to decorate before we add bits to, I think, I can't remember, and some afterwards. So just to kind of bear in mind what we're doing here, we've got our flap, which is going to be what attaches to our base page. So we don't need to decorate this page. This is all one piece of paper when it comes to decorating it, because this is your homework. This is all one this is all one piece of pattern paper there. So As I go through as well, I'll talk to you about how you might like to decorate it up. But for this one, we don't have to decorate it first. We're just going to add those papers. So this is my page number 1 in my book. I've got my flap, and I'm going to attach it to the very, very bottom of my page so it's flush, but I'm going to leave roughly a ½ inch gap here just because it adds a bit of interest. But I need to keep remembering that on the left hand side I need to leave a gap so that I can put those fancy fussy cut bits in. Okay, so the cut sizes for the first and second set of pages, do you mean the ones that we've just done? For each page you need to cut 2 at 6 1/8 by 4 5/8 of an inch, Larissa. Does that help? Hi Alison. So this is my very first page, and I'm going to just pop that on like that at the bottom, but I've left a gap here of roughly ½ inch or so. Okay, and now I've got my other flap. So what I'm going to do is just turn that round because it's easier for me to see what I'm doing. Pop some glue on that, and if I lie that flat and then lie this on top, it means it will match up exactly. Okay,
Alison asks if you're feeling better.
yeah, I'm great, thank you. Yeah, really good tart. Thank you for asking. All the better for paper crafting, you know how it is. All right, so that's what we've got. So that is my page 1. Okay, so what I'm going to do is when I come to decorate this up, I'll put one piece of you know, paper here. I'll mat each of these, and when I've matted them, I'll choose a cutter part, which I will glue halfway, just half of the cutter part, onto here, so that it will slide. That bit will slide just behind. Okay, so here I've got my cutter part, which I've matted onto my cardstock, and I've just glued it just halfway, so just that bottom bit is glued, so that when I come to use it as my closure, that will just slip inside. Okay, so if I'm only gluing half of it, I'm obviously not gluing too much, if that makes sense, so it's not going to get in the way. Hi Bianca. Okay, so that's how that closes. Now this is great, this is my page 1, but this is also page 8. So if I take my last page and turn it over, I'm going to do exactly the same at the back here. So this is my page 8, which is the one with the flaps. And I'm just going to add these exactly the same way. So leaving around, hang on a minute, let me just think about this a second. No, I'm going to put it on this, I need to put it on this edge. Yeah. Because this is my back page, it's the left hand side, this is where the spine will go. But I need this to be at the opposite side, okay? So I'm going to do my last one now. Line that up one on there. I've moved that. Not clever. Ooh. Oh, what a mess. I'll just re-glue that.
Nikki Powell's just arrived. Apologising for being here.
Hi, Nikki. Oh, Nikki, don't you worry, my love. Right, let's get this lined up properly this time. There we go. Okay, so that's the back page done. So that's the front and the back pages, okay? So yeah, this week you need to go and decorate those. So now I'm going to move into page 3 and 4, which in this book are these pages. And just to show you, I've used a cut apart, one of the 6x4 cut aparts. I've matted it onto some white cardstock, and that actually kind of weights these pages down. So there isn't sort of like any sort of fancy closure or magnets or anything on this. It's the weight of the cut aparts that keeps it closed. But we've got that one little page there, and I'm hoping this is in shot. So that little page there, and then we've got that slightly bigger page there, so that we've got room for any photos or journaling or anything else there. Okay, so that's what we're going to make now. We're going to make those 2 flaps. So if we grab our trimmers again, I want you to cut, because we're going to cut for both sides. So I want you to cut 2 pieces really. 2 pieces at 6.5 by 5.5 inches. Hi Rizwana. We were having a nice chat before class actually.
Oh, were you?
Yes, she was telling me what she was making for tea, and as usual I was wildly jealous. Right, so we've got those 2 which are 6.5 by 5.5, and then we want to cut 2 which are 6.5 by 4.5. And I'm sure I've got some odd pieces of card here that I can use. So 4.5 by 6.5. Okay? Right. So now I want you to grab your scoreboards. And we've got 2 smaller, or 2 thinner and 2 thicker. The thicker ones, which are 5.5 by 6.5 inches, I want you to score on the 5.5 inch side at 1/2 inch. And that is the same on both. And then on the slightly thinner one, which was 4.5 by 6.5, I want you to score at 1/2 inch on the 4.5 inch side of those as well. Okay? So we're scoring on the 4.5 inch side at 4 inches. Oh, hi Jane. That's dedication.
I've been there, done that.
Yeah, you have, haven't you? Right, okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to just fold on these score lines, and I'm just going to burnish each one.
Well, I'm confused by them scorings on that last one. Looking at your notes.
Why?
Score at 1/2 inch on the 4.5 and 5.5 inch side. Is that the one we're doing?
Yeah, so you're basically scoring at 1/2 inch on each on the 4.5 inch side, and scoring at 1/2 inch on the 5.5 inch side. I should have written that, but that's what I meant. Ooh. Okay, so I'm just burnishing those. Okay, and what's going to happen is that these are going to sit one on top of the other like that, so that when they open up, they're going to open up and independently of each other. So I'm going to just take this 5.5 inch one and the 4.5 inch one. I'm going to pop a spot of glue on that flap there. And I'm just going to add that to that bit. Make sure it lines up and it's straight. I've got dirty fingers. I love white cardstock, but if you're mucky like me, it's not the best thing in the world. So now we've got that piece. Oh dear, look at that. Now we've got that piece that opens up like that, okay? And we're going to do the same with the other side. So what we're doing is we're just gluing the smaller one on top of the larger one. Okay? Right. So this is my page 1. If I open this up now, this is going to be page 2 and 3, and I want to put these like this so that they're facing each other. Okay? So that they're facing inwards into the book. Yeah, Catherine, there's always extra card, don't worry. I always put plenty of extra in. And if you get stuck, just give me a shout. So, bit of glue onto that. And I'm going to stick it on the far right hand side of page 3. Like that. So now I've got that page that opens like that and that page that opens like that. And when I come to decorate, what I'll do is once I've decorated this front, I'll put on my cutter part, which will go there, and that the weight of that will keep this closed. Okay, so now I'm going to add this onto the opposite side. Okay, so page 1, open it up, and we've got those 2 pages that have those flaps opposite to each other. Okay, right, so we've done this page and now we've just put this page together. Okay, and these are the bits that we've just made. So when we come to decorate them, we're just going to put our pattern paper and just decorate up each bit. And like I said, I put a cutter part here, matted it onto some cardstock, and then I've used, funnily enough, it just fits really nicely. One of the smaller cutter parts just fits in because obviously that's half the size of the other one. Okay, and then like I said, the weight of that just holds the whole thing down. So, next pages. Kind of like the first page, but the other way up. So we've got these here, okay, with the closure like that in exactly the same way as we've discussed on the front of the book. So these once again are going to be on opposite sides because we need to leave this middle bit here for the fancy bits. Okay, so we need to grab our trimmers again, please. And we are going to cut page 4 and 5. So we need to cut for both sides. I put 2 in the cutting guide because that's just for one. So if we're doing both, we need to cut 4 at 6.5 by 4 inches. It's not wide enough. Well, it would be if I did it at 4, wouldn't it? I told you measuring's just not my thing. If it's got numbers in it. So 6.5 by 4 inches, and I'm going to cut 4 of those. can hear Anthony.
Yes.
He's up late. It's way past his bedtime.
Naughty boy.
Oh, I can hear him now.
Yeah.
Oh.
Minibook.
Hey, Melanie. Long time no see. How you doing? Can you hear him? He's gone quiet again. Typical. Right, okay, so I've got those 4 pieces and I'm just going to grab my scoreboard now. And I am going to score on the 4-inch side at 1/2 inch, and that's the same on all of them. So I'm scoring on the 4-inch side at 1/2 inch. Okay, we are motoring through this.
We are.
So what I'm going to do is fold all the what? The recutting. God, you're cheeky.
I'm hungry.
This is why we won't be married for 47 years.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Yeah. How old would we be if we were married for 47 years? You're the one that's good at maths. 92? That's entirely possible. Don't sigh.
Oh, did I do that loud?
Yeah, you did. I heard that.
Think how many more flowers are you going to get down here?
Yeah.
At least another 2.
Oh, you're so funny.
Oh, I've got something in there.
So, moving swiftly on. Okay, now, right, I'm going to grab my pages. And I'm going to work, first of all, on the back of this page. And let me just check before I do it. Yep.
Terry says she feels your pain.
It's something about engineers, Terry, I think. Isn't
That's
it?
what she says.
Yeah. Yeah. Although it's very useful if I need things converting.
Oh, it's Celia's wedding anniversary today.
It's who, sorry?
Celia Mitchell.
Oh, Celia! Happy anniversary to you. 48 years. Bloody hell. You're working then. You're winning then. Because it's Mel's anniversary today and it's 30 years since they met and 20 years since they got married. So cute. Right, so I'm just going to attach that flap to the very, very edge of that page. Like that. So this is this bit. And then we're going to attach this one as well. Now there isn't a very big, I don't know if you can see, there isn't a very big fold over there. So if I just measure that, which is roughly 2.5 inches. If I measure in, because if I want to be exact, roughly 2.5 inches here, pencil. Look. Mel, best friend on a stick. Oh, that's no good. Right, it's a long story. I'm not being really weird with that. It's just, I'll tell you one day. Right, so if I just mark roughly where 2.5 inches would be.
Karen McDougall was asked which page?
I'm on page, I don't know, 4.
4 and 5.
I'm on page 4 and 5. So yeah, if I stick that there, that's going to give me just a little bit of an overlap. So I've just made a little pencil mark where 2.5 inches is. Just as a guide, because it doesn't have to be perfectly exact. And I'm just going to...
Celia says it's 56 years since they met.
Is it? Wow. That's...
She was 14.
Yeah, Mel was very young as well, wasn't she? How old was she? 15 when she met her husband?
I think that was it.
Yeah, something like that. Amazing. Wow.
She was a pale young girl.
Oh, that's so lovely. Oh, how did you meet? Yeah, Terry, I agree. Yeah, it's there's something about clever that used to appeal to me until I had it every day. Whatever. Right. Okay. So I'm clever. Yeah. Right. So the opposite page. These go on the far right hand side.
Amanda is lost.
You and me both. Hold on, I will show you. Just let me add that. Okay, right, I'll tell you where we are. You know what I'm going to do? I'll show you.
I'll ask her where she's at.
Right, let's just make sure this is in shot so that you can see. Right, page 1. Okay, this page. Turn it over. Page 2 and 3, which are the ones with these flappy bits. Okay? We've done those, and now we're working on this page, which is 4 and 5. And what we've done is we've added these bits here. And now I'm just adding these on the opposite side, okay? So I'm just measuring in. This is 2.5 inches.
She put oops.
So I'm just measuring in. I've lost my pencil. 2.5 inches, roughly.
Put oops at.
Oops. Amanda, if you've done something different, that's absolutely fine, because all of these pages are interchangeable. It doesn't matter. And anyway, who wants to be the same as everybody else? So I'm just going to put a bit of glue on that flap.
She says she's gone wrong somewhere with her flappy bits.
Oh dear. Well, I don't know what to say. Do you know roughly where you've gone wrong? Or, I don't like that term wrong. You've done it differently. It doesn't mean you've done it wrong.
That's done a unique design.
Yes, it's your own unique design. So, those are my 2 pages. So you can see where they meet in the middle. They're still flat. Now, because we have a finite amount of paper, I'm going to just tell you a little thing that I did. Just to make sure that I had enough paper the right way up, etc, etc, etc. Alison, that probably doesn't matter. I'm sure you can work it out. Where I've added the pattern paper, instead of putting it all the way through, these are actually just separate bits. So I haven't done the whole thing. If you open this up, even though it is the same paper, I've actually, because of the way that I've cut it, I've actually cut these things separately. So I'm not using one. You could do one whole piece, but I can't remember what's on the other side of it. But there will have been a reason why that is separate. So just a little hint there for when you come to decorate. Right, so the next page that we're going to make, which is the last one, are these little envelopes. Okay? So, let me just grab my pages. And I'm going to grab my trimmer. And I'm going to cut two at 5 by 7.5 inches. And I am going to cut 2 at 6.5 by 3 inches. That's not wide enough. And these bits that we're cutting now, the 6.5 by 3, those are the flaps that go over the top of our envelope page. Actually, scrap that. I just cut that wrong.
Which one?
It's 6.5 by 3.5 inches.
Oh, I'll edit that.
Yeah, edit that. 6.5 by 3.5 inches. Yeah. If you've got a kit, don't worry, you've got plenty of card in your kit, I can assure you.
For moments just like this.
Yes, for moments just like this. So 3.5 by 6.5 inches.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's right. Okay, so grab your scoreboard and we'll do the easy score first, which is scoring on the 3.5 inch side of the one that's 3.5 by 6.5, and we're going to score at 1/2 inch, and that's obviously the same on both. Then the bottom of the envelope is just a very, very simple typical pocket that we've made many times before. So we're going to score on the 5 inch side at 1/2 inch, flip it round 90 degrees, so we're now scoring on the 7.5 inch side, and we're going to score at 1/2 inch and at 7 inches. So what we've got is we've got our pocket here with the intersecting score lines, okay, down in that corner. So we're going to score the same on the other one. On the 5 inch side, we're scoring at 1/2 inch, turning it round 90 degrees and scoring on the 1/2 inch and 7 inch mark on the 7.5 inch side. Okay, and that's our scoring done for tonight. So grab your scissors. Oh, look at this. This is magnets. And what we're going to do is we're going to cut out that bottom corner and mitre it. So I'm going to cut up to where the score lines intersect and just chop that corner off on both pieces. So cutting up to the score line where it intersects, I'm just going to move my scissors slightly so that I'm not getting a straight across mitre. Okay, and now I'm just going to fold on those score lines. Oh. And I'm just going to burnish those. Okay, and then on the flap, the envelope flap, I'm just going to fold that over and just burnish that top bit there. Okay. Right, so here are my base pages that I've made tonight, and there'll only be one set left, which are these pages 6 and 7. So I'm going to attach the envelope to the far outside bit. So when I'm looking at my book, you can see that I've got my envelopes at the far outside. Now these are tags, which we'll worry about another time. So don't be misled thinking that that's the edge of the paper. It's not. The edge of the page is here, but we're obviously leaving this bit in the middle here so that we can, you know, do our thing. So I am going to glue down my pocket first. So I'm just going to pop some glue on those flaps. And I'm going to attach this to the far outside of page 6 like that. Line it all up. Stick it down. And then I'm going to get my envelope flap. And I'm just going to stick it to the top like that. Make sure that it all lines up there. Okay, so I've got my pocket here and I've got the flap that goes on the top there. All right, and now I'm going to do the same on the far outside of this one. I'm going to attach that to the, just let me make sure this is the right way round. No, I was going to do that the wrong way around. So make sure that when you attach it, that the back of it, the back of which was page 1 and 8 the same, that's going to be, if you lie it down, it'll be that way round, and then just turn it over and then attach that to that side, to the very far side. The outside edge. And then a bit of glue on the flap of the pocket top, and just attach that to the top of your page. Okay, so I'll just go through this once more. Yep, that way around. I think I've got this all upside down, so I'm making the right pigs here with this. Yeah, that's right. Okay, right. So, page 1. This bit. Okay? That's what I've got here. Page 2 and 3. These pages with the flaps and the flat bit in the middle. Page 4 and 5 are these ones that open like that, exactly the same way as page 1 opened. Okay, and I've got those there, so like that. Then the next page, 6 and 7, the pages with the pockets, and obviously we've got the flat bit in the middle here. And then page 8, which is exactly the same as page 1. Okay, so that's all I want to do with you tonight. If you want to go ahead and decorate for your homework, but what I'm going to do as well is I'll take some photographs of each of the pages that I need you to fussy cut, because it will probably help you a great deal when you're decorating to know which bits you have to save for fussy cutting and which bits you don't. Yeah, just bear that in mind, and I'll do that as soon as I can so that you can get on with your fussy cutting and your matting. So there we go, that's what we wanted to do tonight. Those are all ready to be matted and to be sorted. And then next week what we'll do is we'll put our pages into the book and have a look at the inside front and back covers, and then we'll start to put all the fancy bits together. So thank you very much. And I promised you before you go that I will show you the Winter Tales book, the main Winter Tales book. Now, what happened was that I had 12 by 12 papers, 8x8 papers and a set of the wooden chipboards that I wanted to put all into the one book. Well, it didn't happen like that. It ended up with me using 2 packs of the 12x12 in the main book, which left me the 8x8 papers and the wooden chipboard pieces left over, which is why there's going to be a second smaller you know, quick and easy book as well, which I have started, and it won't be too long before that's done. So if I just show you the bigger book, it's quite large. It's 11 inches by, I'm think that's 6.5. Let me just check. Yeah, that's 6.5, but actually the back is longer. So the back is 7.5 inches. So it's quite a lot wider on the back than it is on the front. Now the charm at the moment is just ribbons, and if you do decide that you want a kit, you will get all the ribbons and lace and bits to go in that. But Mel is going to be working on some simple drops. She's bought the most amazing big snowflakes to add into that, so there will be a special Mel charm on this as well. As far as the kit goes, there will be everything that you need to complete the book, including these wonderful chipboards from Scrappagnettes. What you won't have is, I don't know if you can see it, is I've used some glittery sort of glitter glue. Actually, I've used Cosmic Shimmer because that was what I had close by, just to add a bit of glitter to the book. So you might need to supply that yourself. But the book, in my head, what I thought was it was going to be, I wanted it to be like a illustrated book, so that when you opened it up, what you saw in front of you on the right hand side was an illustrated page. If you wanted to put any photos, they would be on the left hand page. So that was kind of my thinking with this. So I'll open it up. This is page 1. All the pages are pretty similar. So what I've done is I've used the papers and lots of the images, cut them out, and they're done in the same way all the way through the book. And there's things like sparkly vellums and iridescent papers here as well. But on each side, what I've done with regard to actually putting somewhere for your photos is I've just made like that little photo mat here, and that's the same on every page, because like I said, the idea behind it was that I wanted to make like an illustrated picture book, because these papers are so gorgeous that that was my theory, and I just wanted to really showcase the papers more than anything else. So once again, on this page, we've got the photos, which is done in exactly the same way on each page. A lot of the bits that we've cut out, I've raised up on chipboard. But as you can see, like I said, each page is very similar, with the cutout poinsettias down one side, and then each of the sort of the backgrounds is set up on the vellums and the iridescent papers. So this is the next page again. Once again, like I said, it's done exactly the same way. We've got our space for photos here, and then bits that I've cut out and hired up to give some interest here. And then this is our last page, because there's only 4 pages in this book, with the poinsettias. And on each page I have actually kind of, put some glittery bits on. And then the final back page is just very, very simple. We're using the poinsettias there, and then we've got this little bit here where we can just put photo mats or whatever in there, whatever you choose to do. That was exactly my thoughts, Catherine. To be honest with you, this is a book that isn't about the photos. This is a book that's about the papers. And I know I said that about Fairy Wings, but these papers are so incredible and so full of the most beautiful images that this book has to be about the images on the paper. So that is the book. It's incredibly simple to make, because once again, it's not about the book, it's about the papers and showcasing those. But that's the book, and like I said, it will have a really cute charm on it, and you'll be getting all of your ribbons and all of these iridescent papers and everything else that you will need in the kit. And I hope that I will be able to put that up in the shop within the next week, and likewise with the smaller one as well, which I'm hoping to finish really soon. So that's the book. I'll do a proper film of it, which I'll upload at some point over the next couple of days. But I just wanted to show you what I have been doing. So thank you very much for joining me this evening, guys. We'll get together next week and put our pages into our Fairy Wings book. And if you're joining me tomorrow in For the Love of Pretty Paper, we will be making our 12 by 12 wallets.
What colour are the vellums?
The vellums, it's a sort of an iridescent vellum. Hold on. I don't know if you can see, that's kind of, it's a sort of an iridescent one. And then I've used pearlescent papers in a navy and a white as well. Okay, right, there we go. I will see you guys next week if I don't see you tomorrow. Thanks for joining me, and any questions, as usual, just drop me a line and I will see what I can do to help. All right, guys, take care. Bye.
Ooh.